What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a Q&A. I asked everyone on my Instagram to put a question that they wanted answered. So I've got about 10 or 12 questions that I found that were most beneficial for everyone, and also that were kind of redundant that I saw a lot of. So we'll just dive right in. Which plane do you love and why, and what pushed you to be a pilot? So I'll knock two of these out. Which plane do you love to fly? Well, right now I fly the Embry Riddle 145, but my favorite airplane is probably the 777-300. That's an airplane that I really dream to fly, and hopefully one day that will come true. So yeah, what pushed you to be a pilot? I wouldn't say anything really pushed me to become a pilot. As a lot of you know, I am a fourth generation pilot in my family, so I've kind of been around it my entire life, but no one ever really said, oh, you should try flying, you should try flying. It kind of just came up in my head one day. I was like, you know, I think flying an airplane would be pretty cool. So I just got lessons, and here I am now today. How can you become an influencer? This is a tricky question. It just depends what you mean by an influencer. Like, if you're saying like what I do by just having a following, I wouldn't say I'm an influencer. It's really cool when people come up to me and say, oh, your video helped me out, or something that you said, you know, I found a different pathway to becoming a pilot, or, you know, just a different career. It's really cool when people do come up in public and say, thank you so much, especially when I go to like recruiting events for my airline, and maybe someone that does follow me, yeah, they come up and say, hey, you really changed my perspective on becoming a pilot, or you helped me like find a flight instructor, or you helped me take that first step to become a pilot. I think that's really cool. But influencer, how I got my following, I would just say, is staying consistent and posting every day, especially even days that you just don't want to post and stuff. And for me, it's just really cool seeing how I've helped some people. So how do you become an influencer? Just stay true to yourself and post things that you believe will help others and that you believe in as well, and stuff that you're passionate about. Is there anything you would do other than being a pilot? I don't know. Lately, I've thought like real estate is really cool. I've drawn a lot of interest in real estate. I don't know. Maybe I'll get my realtor license on the side and kind of try that out and see where it takes me. But if I wasn't a pilot, ooh, that's tough. I've always really had that entrepreneur like spirit, so I would believe I would be doing something around working for myself. Yeah, so is it true that a pilot can't take any meds, not even Advil, when they're sick? That's not true. We can take Advil and leave, stuff like that. But the FAA, which is the governing body for the United States, does have certain medications that are approved that pilots can take. So let's say you do get sick and the doctor writes you a prescription, you can check that website out and see if you're allowed to keep your medical while taking that prescription, period, or even being able to fly. So it is strict, but we can take some medicines. Can you please tell us some facts about the aircraft you are flying? Sure, yeah. Like I said before, it's an Embry Riddle 145. It's a Brazilian plane, or Brazilian-made aircraft. A lot of people think that depending on the size of the airplane, depends on how fast it can go. Most of these jets that you see, whether the big ones or the small ones, they all go about the same speed. We cruise at Mach 7.6. For non-aviation people, that probably really doesn't make sense, but you know, we can see over 500 miles per hour across the ground. I'm not sure what that is in kilometers, but yeah, it's a 50-seat jet. We have one seat on the left aisle and then two seats on the right. And yeah, I don't know, it's a cool jet. It's a big, a lot of corporate companies use it. So they'll use it as a charter jet, and that's called a legacy. So the regional side, the airline side, calls it an Embry 145. How do you get time to make videos for YouTube? As I thought your profession is kind of busy. It is pretty busy, but the nice thing that I mentioned in a previous video is when you're home, meaning when you set that parking brake on the airplane, you're done with work. You don't have to worry about sales or clients or getting a project done or your boss or anything. When you're done, you're done. So when I am home, I do really spend a lot of time on content, whether it's for YouTube or Instagram, because I just love creating, and it's a really fun passion. How many hours in a day do you spend surfing the internet? Ooh, this is a tough one because I've really tried to cut back lately. I used to just mindlessly scroll, whether it's on Instagram or sit and watch video after video on YouTube or waste time on Netflix. So I've set reminders on my phone, and since Apple released that screen time notification, it's really kind of stuck in my head how much time I waste on social media and the internet and Netflix. So I try and spend less than an hour a day on Instagram. Obviously a lot of that is like replying to comments or DMs or uploading content. So it just depends. But I try and spend 2 hours or less a day total surfing the internet. Was it hard to become a pilot? This is a tricky question because I believe that almost anyone can become a pilot, but it depends on your ambition and how much you're really ready to just sit down and focus and grind and study, because when you are getting your license, your private, your instrument, your commercial, your CFI, or whatever route you decide to take, there is a lot of studying involved. So like I said, it just depends how motivated you are to get those ratings and get off to, whether it's the corporate side or the airline side, whatever your goals are. How often do you have a cheat day? For anyone who doesn't understand that, like a cheat day when I can just eat pizza and ice cream or candy. I never have, like some people have like a Sundays are their cheat days, where every Sunday they don't really pay attention to what they're eating and they just eat whatever they're craving. But for me, I don't have a set day. I just eat whatever I want. Well, I wouldn't say whatever I want, whenever I want, but I do really try and eat healthy 90% of the time. But if I'm out to dinner with friends and everyone's getting a dessert and I just want to get a dessert with everyone else, I will. But then that'll be in the back of my head for the rest of the week. And I'll know, like at home, whenever I would get the ice cream cravings, I wouldn't get ice cream that week or something. So I wouldn't say I have a set cheat day, but once or twice a week, I would say the most, I kind of get those cravings, whether I want some candy or ice cream or whatnot. Do you prefer mounds or ocean? Which is better? That's a preference thing, but to me, I love the ocean. I love just sitting out by the beach and relaxing. I also love hiking and stuff, but if I had to pick between one or the other, I would choose just laying out on the beach for sure. Something about the ocean and the ocean waves crashing is really soothing for me and a big stress reliever. How do you balance family and your job? The good thing about being a pilot is you tend to be home half the month. So when you are home with your spouse, your family, your kids, whatever it might be, or your family, your relatives, you can spend a lot of time with them. And of course, everyone needs their own alone time, but when you're home, you're home. So I can focus on my family quite a bit. And thankfully my parents and my brother live about 30 minutes away from me, so it's pretty easy to go up there and visit. Ooh, this is a good one. What makes you go to the gym every day? I really need motivation like that. Whew. When I'm on a trip and I just flew 10 plus hours, or like was working 10 plus hours a day, and you get to the hotel and you lay on that bed, you really don't want to get up and work out. But I know I will feel better physically and mentally if I had something not so healthy to eat that day. That'll make me feel way better. It's just finding that motivation deep down, and I might watch a motivational YouTube video of like an influencer or someone that I really like. Just getting caffeine in my body. If I take some pre-workout, that'll get me out of bed. And it's just staying dedicated and true to yourself, because I don't do it for anyone else but myself, but also I keep myself in check and, you know, keep myself to a high level of accountability. So I don't know, I just feel better when I go to the gym, and knowing that keeps me motivated to go every day, or at least almost every day. What model of airplane do you fly? I don't know why I screenshotted that twice, but Embry 145. How old were you when you started to learn flying? So, quick backstory, I went to college, East Carolina University, my freshman year for business with a minor in marketing. And I got a job at the local airport, being just they call it a line boy, but it's fueling airplanes, washing airplanes. I worked for the flight school where I would check in students and stuff like that. And just one day I called up my dad. I was like, hey, I think I want to go up and just try flying. And I was 18 years old, to answer your question. Here I am now, I'm 26. I just upgraded, and it's crazy to see in 8 years how much has changed from 0 flight time to being a captain at an airline. But that just shows like really anyone can do it, and you don't have to have that flying bug from 3 years old where you looked up in the sky and you're like, oh, that's what I want to do. So I was 18. Is the pre-flight to a commercial airplane any different from a pre-flight for a Cessna? No. Each pre-flight is very detailed, and we have something called a pre-flight card, where you walk around the aircraft and it tells you different inspections that you need to do throughout the airplane, and just to make sure things are there and not damaged, and like fluids and just different things that you essentially look for on a Cessna, you look for on a jet to a different level. But yeah, the pre-flight's about the same. Without getting too personal, how does your pilot life affect your dating life? Well, thankfully I have a girlfriend that understands my career and the distance, as well as like we do have a long distance relationship. So I guess I don't know if that makes it harder or easier, I don't know, but we do well. We both understand each other's schedules, and we just work through those things. But for the most part, I would say it really doesn't affect my pilot life, because like I said, when I'm off, I'm off. We can go and do whatever together. So it's a good thing. What made you start YouTube? That is a good question. I would say if I had to say one person made me start YouTube, I would say Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know why, but once my Instagram platform started expanding, I saw that I had the attention, but I couldn't get as much of my message across and be able to explain in detail like I wanted to on Instagram at that time, before, you know, the Instagram TV came out where you could put long videos up. So I really wanted to turn to YouTube so I could help motivate pilots or people, whatever their career was. But I really wanted to help point people in the right paths to get going on their career. So that's kind of why I started YouTube. And like I said, I like creating, so getting behind the camera, it's nerve-wracking at first, especially out in public, but once you get used to it, you become really comfortable, and it becomes pretty cool to upload a video, especially after spending so much time editing it. It's just, it's a good accomplishment and feeling. Would you ever consider flying a bigger aircraft? If so, which one would you choose? Like I said, I really want to fly the 777, and the way that you get to fly bigger airplanes in the airline industry is all seniority based. So the company will let you know when you're eligible to bid for a certain aircraft, meaning like the 777 is a really senior airplane. That's one that a lot of people like to fly in my company, or the company that I want to work for. So it's all seniority based. So whenever those people retire or those people leave that airplane and go to a different aircraft, that's when I can apply to become current on that airplane. How does one typically go from domestic pilot to an international long haul? Like I just said, as soon as that slot becomes available, you can bid for it, and if your seniority holds it, then the company will allow you to go and get type rated in that airplane, go through training, and then you get to, it depends on the airplane, but normally like the 777, the 330, the 76, the 78, stuff like the 75, those are all tend to be international airplanes. So once you get qualified on that airplane, having a type rating and stuff, then that's when you become technically an international or long haul pilot. Do you know how to fly a helicopter? No, I don't, but I really, really want to learn how to fly a helicopter. I think that's such a cool thing to do. I'd at least one day when I have the free time and the money, because it's expensive and it's pretty hard to become a helicopter pilot. But I'd like to go and get my helicopter license, at least like my private, if that's a thing. Do you get your private pilot's license for helicopter? I'm not sure, but I'd really like to really like to one day get my helicopter license for sure. I've been in a couple helicopters and I think they're just so sweet. What are the worst and best parts about flying and being a pilot / captain? This is a two-part question, so I'll answer that one first. In my previous video, I talked about the pros and the cons of being a pilot, but I'll address the captain situation. Being a captain is super cool because you kind of have the final say, the final authority. You always get your crew members involved in decision making, but you kind of have the final say in everything. But that also comes with a lot of stress, because if something goes wrong, it's on you essentially. So that kind of brings a lot of stress to your plate, but also there's good things. You get paid more because of those decisions that you have to make. But it's cool. It's cool being a captain for sure. The second part of this question is, do you believe a bachelor's degree is 100% necessary to become an airline pilot at the moment, since there is a pilot shortage? Looking to pursue a career in aviation soon. It depends. If you live here in the United States, the typical route is you go to a regional carrier and then to something called a major carrier. So like the three big carriers in the United States are American, United, and Delta. So to go, like American has three wholly owned carriers, PSA, Piedmont, and Envoy. American requires the bachelor's degree. But if you were to go to those three companies, one of those three companies, they have something called a flow through, meaning, all right, you go and work for them for 5 to 7 to 8 years, and then your seniority number comes up and you do something called flow to American. So at that point, you wouldn't need a bachelor's degree because you went through the flow through program. But I believe as the pilot shortage does grow, I think that those companies like United and Delta and American might drop that you necessarily have to have a 4-year degree. So do your research. If you want to go somewhere like JetBlue or Frontier or Spirit or something like that, I believe some of those carriers don't require a 4-year degree. So that's something to look into. Save you a lot of money and especially a lot of time. You know, going to sit through school for 4 years. Like I said in a previous video, you can go to ATP, which is a flight school, and get everything done in 2 years, all your time. So you'd be shaving 2 years off of your airline career if you went to a 4-year degree, if that makes sense. What is your honest review of going to Embry Riddle? Is it worth the cost? Do you like the teachers? What you yeah, okay. Did you go for your restricted ATP? So I did go to Embry Riddle. I think the school is great. I think the teachers are great. They all come from an aviation background. Even the physics class, the teacher integrates aviation into physics. So it's really cool. My honest review, would I go back and do it again? No, because you come out of school with a lot of student loans. And like I said before, it takes 4 years off of, doing what you wanted to really be doing, which is just flying airplanes. So like I said, if you want to get an aviation degree, excellent school. It's a great school. It is expensive, but if you ask me if you for sure want to go to a college, what college should I go to? I would suggest Embry Riddle as like a top 3 for sure. Oh, this is a good one. Actually, I'll skip that. I'll do that one last. So I got 2 more. What cars you have or have any plans of buying? Right now, I just have the BMW M3, but my like dream car, what I really want is a Tesla Model X. That SUV is really cool, but they're super expensive. So maybe one day when I hit 1 million subscribers, just kidding, I'll get one. But yeah, that's a dream car of mine. So I don't know. I'm gonna hold on to my car for a while. What advice would you give your 16-year-old self? That is tough. What advice would I give my 16-year-old self? I would just say, just stay true to yourself. Don't give in to like anyone trying to tell you what the proper way in life is to go. You know, like going to college, getting a degree, getting a safe job. I would just say, just stay true to yourself. Do what fuels you inside, and yeah, just be happy. Be happy. Don't let things stress yourself out so much. But anyways, yeah, let's get deep. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want stuff like this more often, kind of Q&As, maybe not so much the pilot route, but just anything else, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see next video. Smash that thumbs up button if you did enjoy it, please. It means a lot. I see that feedback, and I respond to everyone's comments, so I really do appreciate the criticism, whether it's good or bad, and I take it and try and run with it and make my videos better. So if you're new here, subscribe. It means a lot, and I'll see you guys next time.